Hey guys, I'm back with another deck. This time it's 8 choice Kurumi Waifu from Data Live and Data Bullet. I decided to make this video because I recently took 3rd out of 27 at the Virginia White Schwartz Waifu tournament with this deck. Also because I love Kurumi. Not only is this deck strong and very fun to play, but it is mostly made up of cards from the Data Bullet Extra Booster. So it's not too difficult to build if you pick up an EB playset in JP or when it comes out in English in December. The deck is also a very good starting point for a more meta build of Data Bullet cards. As always, the Encore Decks link will be in the description. Our first card is Nightmare Queen Kurumi. This is one of those newfangled search Rickies. On play, you can pay a stock and send a character from your waiting room to the bottom of your deck, then search your deck for a level 1 or lower character. It's a great card for pushing yourself to level 1, grabbing cards that are needed early in the game, etc. And with 2k base power, it doesn't take too much to pump her into a decent sized level 0 beater. I play this as a 3 of to increase my chance of seeing it early in the game. Up next is one of my favorite cards, Kurumi, holding at gunpoint. This card exists to make things bigger. Her first effect pumps one of your characters by 1500 power on attack. The second effect is an alarm that states that if it's on the top of your clock at the beginning of your opponent's climax phase, all of your characters gain the following ability. When this is front attack, you may ditch a card from your hand to give this character 2000 power for the turn. This alarm basically turns your entire hand into 2k counters, but since this happens during the attack declaration step, you can also play a counter during the counter step. This card is nasty and does pretty nasty things when your level 1 combo will be sitting there at 6000 power on your opponent's turn, as well as some bigger cards we'll see later on. I run this 4 of because the effects are both incredibly useful in the deck. Now we come to our Brainstorm, Kurumi Visitor. This is a tap self-salvage Brainstorm that only hits on the 2 choice climaxes of Data Bullet. That restriction also lets her pump a character 1k power for the turn for each climax it's milled. Then her other effect pumps all of your characters by 500 power when a choice climax is played. More power is good. I play this as a 3 of out of necessity. I have had trouble fitting 4 into the deck, but the power pumps are typically very important for the level 1 game. Now we have Kurumi, Diamonds, Cut Diamonds. This is a climax swapper. That's all she does. So she has a bit more power, being a 2500 power level 0 quote-unquote beater. I only run 1 of this because it is pretty situational. The next 2 cards are pieces of a memory package. First is Kurumi, Memories That Never Fade. Her first effect gives her 2000 power and pay 1 twin drive if the next card we're going to see is in your memory. Her second effect lets you salvage your level 3 Climax Combo if you pay 1 stock and send this standing card to memory. This is one of multiple ways to get your level 3 combo into your hand, which is very important early in the game due to a level 1 resonator. While the twin drive can also push extra damage as well as help produce extra resources by digging for more choice triggers. She also provides a recollection effect to a level 1 card while in memory. This is a 3 of due to the fact that it can actually be useful throughout the game. And the second piece of our package is our only non-yellow card in the deck. Sawa, Memories That Never Fade. Her effect says that if you have 2 or fewer cards in memory, you can pay 1 to top check up to 3, add a character, and then you send Sawa to memory. So she provides mill, helps find pieces for your level 1 game, provides memory compression, and if she's in memory, she gives Twin Drive on 2 different cards in the deck, one of which we've already seen. Sawa is the 4 of non-waifu that I use as per Ileana's Waifu Wars rules, and I run her as a 3 of to increase my chances of finding her earlier in the game. Moving on to level 1, we're going to go right into our combo. This is Kurumi, Girl Dressed in Nightmares. Aside from the amazing art, this card can be a little demon for your opponent. Her first effect gives her 1000 power cross turn if all of your characters are on trait. Her Climax Combo lets her stop the card across from her from running, or bouncing back to hand, or going to memory, as well as an on-reverse salvage. The first part of the combo is extremely nasty because it stops your opponent from denying your plus by denying a reverse, while also possibly doing damage to their early game if they rely on bouncing back to hand, sending memory cards to memory on reverse, etc. It can do pretty bad things to Saikano, Konosuba Movie, Attack on Titan, etc. And the salvage isn't incredibly difficult to get since there are many ways to make her stronger. Typically, this card is most likely swinging in for at least 7500 power due to your back row. Then you also have the alarm card and the brainstorm effect to make her even bigger. Of course, this is a 4 of. And now we have a very special card, and one of the most important cards in the deck. Kurumi, Difference in Status. The first thing you probably noticed is that this card has a soul trigger. Yes, a 1-0 has a soul trigger, and much like the 1-0I from Nijigasaki, it exists for a reason. In this case, to provide more targets for your choice triggers. Her first effect provides 500 power to all of your other characters, so more free power for your level 1 combo, among other things. Her second effect is similar to a Ricky. You can pay 1 stock and send the top card of your deck to clock in order to search your deck for your level 3 combo. Similar to the level 0 card, this is here because it is important to get your level 3 combo for the Resonate effect that we're about to see. The third effect lets you tap herself and reveal the level 3 combo in your hand in order to choose any card in your hand, or any card in your clock and add it to your hand. Then choose any card in your hand and send it to your clock. Now you understand why the level 3 combo is so important so early in the game. This effect is extremely strong as it interacts very well with multiple alarm cards such as the level 0 we saw before, and also provides some broken interactions with that card, a level 2 card, and a level 3 early play that will be forthcoming. I run this as a 3 of at the minimum because it is so important to get on the board as soon as possible, and also because it is a great target for choice triggers to send it to stock once you already have one in the back row. You don't need them anymore. Up next is Kurumi, Calm and Collected. This is another pretty good card. Her effect lets you top check up to 4 for a yellow climax when she goes to waiting room. Then if you add a climax, you ditch a card. Her second effect actually lets you sack her to pump something else 2000 power. So basically, she can sack herself to both pump your level 1 combo, as well as look for your level 1 combo's climax, while also possibly providing a good ditch out. I run this as a 2 of, since it is typically a situational card, but useful enough to run more than once so you can find it more easily when needed. And our final level 1 card is Kurumi, Holding a White Cat. This is the third piece of our memory engine, along with the 2 level 0s that we saw before. First off, first effect, if your opponent has a cat trait character, this card cannot attack. Yes, that is the actual effect. The second effect says that She gets 3,000 power cross turn if you have the level 0 memory Kurumi in your memory. While the third effect gives her twin drive if the green level Sawa is in your memory. So if you get both of those cards in memory, this becomes a 6,500 power beater with twin drive. Take into account all the other power pumps on your turn and your opponent's turn, and this card can be quite disgusting. That being said, pumping this card isn't a priority very often, and most of the time I didn't need or want to get both level 0s in memory. She is only a 2-of, since she is kind of situational and loses a lot of importance at level 2. Also, if you manage to loop your level 1 combo. And now we get to level 2. We have our first card from the original Data Live booster. This is Swimsuit Grooming. This card is a free fresh counter, so she pumps 2,500 power with a 1 stock cost, and then you can pay 2 more stock to shuffle your waiting room back into your deck. This card is very strong, since it can both help to recover from a Climax Screw, pay out dirty stock, and just straight up create a nasty deck state for your opponent to swing into. Not to mention that combined with the level 0 alarm, you basically have a 4,500 power counter on hand if needed. I run this as a 2-of because of how often it finds use in the deck, especially if you manage to find a lot of choice triggers on your attacks. Our final level 2 Kurumi is Reasonable Judgment. This is a 2k power assist to level 3 cards in front of her, and her second effect is another piece of the broken clock management in this deck. You can tap her to choose a character in your waiting room and put it at the top or the bottom of your clock. Then at the end of your turn, you heal the bottom of your clock. So this can enable your early play healer. It also synergizes very well with the level 1 back row. It helps to enable your level 3 combo as well. Then there are more interesting applications, such as sending something that you need from your waiting room into your clock. Then you refresh. Then you can get that character back into your waiting room, or simply setting the level 0 alarm to the top of the clock to enable the power pump every turn. I run this as a 2-of because it's a useful card, but it's not something I need to try to find many turns for attacking or something like that. And now what we've all been waiting for, the level 3 cards. But we're going to start off slowly. The first level 3 card is the Last Data Live booster card, Under the Azure Skies Kurumi. This card digs X for a card, where X is the number of your characters on stage. The other effect is an early play, but the deck doesn't run the condition. This card is mainly there for you to grab if you need to dig for something specific at level 3, such as your level 3 choice climax. There's a 1-of because it's a very situational card, but I mean it has 10k power base, a soul trigger, and 2 soul, so. And we have one more little fun tech card. This is Kurumi Hand Hibiki, New Story. This card is a stock flip that gets 500 for each other, so typically it's an 11,500 base power 2 soul beater. This is a 1-up, since you will usually grab it early, or you have the whole game to grab it if you know your opponent will be building a lot of clean stock. And now we get into the fun stuff. Our second to last card is Kurumi, Black Cloth's Spirit. This card tends to annoy the crap out of my opponents. Her first effect gives her 1,000 power per character in your back row cross turn. So most of the time she is at least 10,500 power just for existing. She's also a healer, and she heals when played from hand or when played by the effect of her alarm ability, which we're about to see. Her alarm ability says that if she's on the top of your clock, you're level 2 or higher, and you have 4 more characters, then you can pay 2 stock, ditch 1 character to play her to the stage from her clock, and then clock yourself from the top of your library. The cost is basically the same as playing the card from hand, and then of course on play she heals off what you just clocked yourself with. So you now see why the 2 back row cards are so important. They enable this broken early play healer that you can play during your main phase as long as she's at the top of your clock. So if she's already in your clock or in your hand, you can use the 1-0 back row to put her at the top of your clock. If she's in neither area, you can use the 2-1 assist to put her in your clock from your waiting room. So if your opponent does manage to kill her or anti-change her to waiting room, or if they bounce her back to your hand, then she's right where you want her to be on your next turn. It basically, you have 3 different zones, including your hand, where if this card exists there, you can put her on stage. And don't forget that with a full back row and in front of the 2-1 assist, with the 1-0 back row on the board, she is 13,000 power cross turn. That if you have the level 0 alarm at the top of your clock, she becomes 15,000 to 17,500k on defense, often denying your opponent a reverse if it's required for their level 3 combo or for a clock kick or whatever. This is an obvious 4-of in the waifu deck owing to the card's just sheer strength. And we come to the finale. So our level 3 Climax Combo, WeisSacKing Kurumi. I love this card, and I have been questioned many times on why I run it instead of the level 3 standby combo from the booster, but we'll come to that. For now, our first effect is a heal at the beginning of your Encore step during the turn that she's placed on stage from hand. This helps because you need cards in your clock during your attack phase for her Climax Combo, so healing them off on play could cause trouble. Now her Climax Combo is a modular burn. On attack, she can pump something 1,000 power, and she gains the effect that at the end of her attack, you can pay 2 ditch 1 to choose a card in your clock and burn for that card's level +1. I love this effect. While I do understand that the Data Live Standby Kurumi has a choice of 3 different effects, with 2 of them being free, and she can be activated at level 2 if a standby game goes well, I feel the modular nature of this burn is more powerful in this deck, since if you use your 2 back row cards properly, you can burn your opponent for any amount from 1 to 4. You have full control over your damage output with this effect. Not only that, but if you have been generating extra stock with your choice triggers to enable this effect. Whereas Standby Kurumi's burn requires that you ditch 2, which can be pretty expensive if you're having any hand issues and want to do more than 1 burn. And let's not forget that the combination of these in the back row basically means that you can manipulate your clock to have whatever burns you want for that turn, no matter how many Kurumis you have. So this deck has a lot of fun shenanigans to have fun with, and numerous ways to aggravate the crap out of your opponent. It's also very fun to consider the clock interactions in order to basically turn your clock and waiting room into the same zone for adding cards to hand or playing your early play healer. Also, Kurumi is just plain awesome. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as usual, I'm open to constructive criticism as well as funny criticism.